Alright everyone, Saturday, hope you are all well. Got a show for you today, probably a bit of a shorter show to be honest. I was actually going to take today off had Celtic beaten Ajax the other night. But the fact that we didn't means that Celtic are playing tonight against the Saudi team Al-Ahli. So I think you're hopefully enjoying the daily videos at the moment. So I thought I'd stick something out. Probably won't be as long a video as you're used to, but it's better than nothing. We are now less than 100 subscribers away from 16,000, so I know there's 100 of you out there watching this at this very moment. They're just realising I'm not subscribed. Just go and click that button. It's completely free. Get us to 16,000 and I'll shut up about it for a while. Right, a few departures announced by Celtic yesterday. Let's just run through them briefly. So Adam Montgomery has left the club to join Livingston on a season-long loan. Livingston are in our league this year, so Montgomery won't be able to play against us. It's actually his sixth loan away from Celtic, which must be some sort of record. Don't worry, I'm not going to check back and find out if it is, but 6 loans away is pretty ridiculous. And I think the club gave him a new contract last season or the year before. I think it was 2024. So Montgomery's actually still contracted with us until June 2027. So he's still got a couple of years to run. Obviously just isn't going to make it as a first team Celtic player. I always quite liked him when he first broke through as well. I think under Ange Postecoglou got a few chances. But he's going to be out on loan at Livingston this season. So wish him all the best there. Elsewhere, confirmation of Kwon's permanent departure to Ligue 1 Nantes. He's signed a 3-year deal there. He also posted on Instagram to say, "Hi Celts, it's time to say goodbye. I didn't want to say goodbye like this. Really sorry I didn't help the team a lot, but I was proud to be a member of this team. I'll always support this team anywhere. Good luck with this season. Glasgow will be green forever." So nice stuff from Kwon. Don't really have anything else to add here, but good luck to him moving forwards. And the last bit of news yesterday was that goalkeeper Josh Clark of the B team has joined Partick Thistle on a season-long loan. Just while we're on the topic of young players, the B team kicked off their Lowland League season last night. I do want to pay a bit more attention to the B team this season on the channel. I feel like last year I didn't do it at all, and I know the majority of these players won't make it and play for the first team, but I think it is good as fans to just be on top of what's happening, especially after we've seen some of them playing in pre-season. So I'm going to be kind of covering this even briefly from week to week. They opened their Lowland League campaign last night in Airdrie. They were playing Broxburn Athletic, and they opened it with a victory. It finished 3-2 to Celtic B, a double from Rhys Dargie, who is an 18-year-old winger. Don't think we saw any of him in pre-season with the first team, but he appears to score quite a lot of goals. I think he scored the Glasgow Cup final last year or one of those competitions. So he scored a double and an own goal as well, got us a 3-2 win. Just in terms of the starting 11, it was Gill, Crawford, Kyle, Robertson, Borland, Turley, Dargie, Isiguzu, Obadiwe, McCardo and Hatton. So a few familiar names in there and a winning start for the B team. So another season ahead for the B team in the Lowland League. Whether we're in the UEFA Youth League or not will depend on whether the first team qualifies for the UEFA Champions League phase. So that's the way it works. So yet another reason to hope for Celtic to get to the league phase of the Champions League means that the young players will be going up against the best young teams in Europe as well. A few quotes from Benji Nygren in the media today. Nothing major from him, but speaking positively about Brendan Rodgers and his contact with Brendan Rodgers. Nygren says, "I've got a really good impression of him. We've had very good contact and he was a big part of why I came here. I had a really good talk with him before I signed. I'm 24, so I have my best years ahead. I wanted to come to a big club that plays in the biggest competitions, and Celtic have everything. Playing in front of 60,000 every home game is going to be amazing." Don't know what you all think of Nygren so far, But I'm very excited. He appears to me to be the player we've been looking for ever since Matt O'Reilly left a year ago. And yeah, I think he's going to be a starter for us. I think he's going to score a lot of goals. He's going to assist a lot of goals. Probably the bright spark for me in the Ajax performance. Yes, he maybe faded a bit as the game went on, but early on in that game, like his close control's really good. Like he's strong. Maybe at times, lacks a bit of pace, but I think we kind of knew that. I mean, Matt O'Reilly wasn't particularly quick. Tom Rogic, who's the other player that I likened them to quite early after watching some clips of him playing for Northern, and I think he's quite similar to O'Reilly and Rogic, so I'm pleased with that kind of assessment I made really early on. But yeah, I think he's going to offer us a lot this season. Been quite impressed with him so far. And he spoke a bit as well in these quotes about the mental toughness that he has. Because he's only 24, he's only actually just turned 24 a few weeks ago, so he's a pretty young player. I don't think you really think of him as like a young player, the way he acts and the way he carries himself both on and off the pitch. But 24 is still, okay, it's not really young, but it's fairly young. But I think part of that is that, like, as much as he has only just turned 24, he's like had a pretty long career so far with like ups and downs. And you're probably familiar with this story, but basically Benjamin Nygren was like one of the most hyped players in Sweden. He broke through at IFK Göteborg and actually left them for Genk, aged 17, for €5 million. So Genk paid €5 million for a 17-year-old, which is, when you think about it, quite ridiculous. So he was really hyped, didn't really work out for him in Belgium, had a loan spell with Heerenveen in the Netherlands, which I think went slightly better, but still not great, and kind of had to reset and start his career again. Did really well at Nordsjælland, and now he's obviously playing for the biggest club of his career. So I think he's it's really good with Nygren because he's young enough that you still got all of his peak years ahead of him, but also you feel like he's already had a really good journey, and the mental toughness is there, and he's experienced the high points and the low points and loads of different cultures as well. He's like a Sweden international. And I don't know if it's sometimes the fee that we paid for him. I think it was $1.5 million, and people just think, right, okay, maybe you don't expect too much from that fee. But we've signed like an attacking Sweden international, and Sweden are a team that are growing again with some of the players they have. So really excited about Nygren. I think he's going to be great this season. Pretty sure we won't see him tonight though, or the majority of the players that played the other night, certainly the ones who started against Ajax. Celtic trained yesterday at Stadio Giuseppe Sinigaglia on the pitch. Obviously, Hamish, they wouldn't have trained in the dressing room. It wasn't like the full squad that trained. I was looking at the Lake Como unfiltered footage that was posted on Celtic TV. And I think basically anyone who played 45 minutes or more against Ajax didn't train yesterday. And I'm pretty sure that it would be the squad that trained yesterday that will make up the match squad for tonight's game. You might have like maybe some of the players like Inamura and Carter Vickers could maybe play tonight, but I sense that they probably won't. So a little bit of a stretch, this predicted 11, but this is what I'm going for, something like this. So Sinizalo, Alistair Johnson back in it at right back. Stephen Welsh, I think, will probably start next to Austin Trusty, just because we don't really have any other centre-backs who didn't play the other night. Left back, same issue. The only one I could think of maybe would be like Colby Donovan could play out there. Midfield, I'm pretty nailed on, will be Engels, McCowan, Bernardo. Good to see those three. Those three need to be trying to force themselves into the Brendan Rodgers starting 11. I think it's pretty clear what Brendan Rodgers' starting midfield is at the moment, but it's up to those guys to change his mind. And then, yeah, Marco Tilio still with Celtic in Italy. He, I think, will start. James Forrest will start. And striker could really be anyone, because Kenny played, 25 minutes the other night. My hunch is Kenny might start this game with maybe Yamada coming off the bench. But we've also got Callum Osmond there as well, who I'd quite like to see a bit more of. So Brendan Rodgers actually does have a few options up front, but I don't think we'll see Adam Ida feature at all. Just a wee bit of information on our opponents tonight. So it's Al-Ahli They are actually the current reigning Asian Champions League winners. They won that last season, actually beating Shin Yamada's Kawasaki Frontale in the final. So Yamada came off the bench, I think, at half-time in that match, so you'll be very familiar with Al-Ahli. So they won the Asian Champions League last season, but they didn't play in this summer's Club World Cup. But they've qualified for the next Club World Cup, courtesy of winning the Champions League this year. So they're a good side, best in Asia, really, at the moment. However, they finished 5th in the Saudi Pro League last season. So a bit hit and miss season for them, as you would probably expect, with a kind of fairly big Saudi team and all the money there. They have a hell of a lot of well-known players that you'll have heard of. So they've got Riyad Mahrez, former Man City player, who's their captain. They've got Edouard Mendy as their goalkeeper. Ivan Toney is there. They've got the former Juventus defender Mary Demiral. They've also got Frank Kessié, former AC Milan midfielder, Ivory Coast, and Alan Saint-Maximin, the former Newcastle wingers there as well. They also did have Roberto Firmino up until recently, but he's gone searching even more money in Qatar. So yeah, those are the kind of big names they have. Not sure how many of them you'll see tonight, because I think the majority of them, like Mahrez, Kessié, Saint-Maximin, all played against Como on Wednesday night. So maybe you'll see them tonight. I don't think Toney featured at all for them. He was on the bench. So I'm thinking Ivan Toney will probably play against us tonight. But yeah, it should be a decent test for the team. And yeah, hopefully we can get something out of the game. Final pre-season game, so you're looking for people to really get up to speed. But yeah, not a huge amount riding on the game tonight. I don't think the crowd will be particularly huge, but yeah, it's another match and a chance to see Celtic in action. It's a 7:30pm kickoff once again this evening, and the game is being shown live on Celtic TV. Right, I'm going to head for now. There's a big rugby match happening in Melbourne this evening that you may be aware of. So the Bears are calling me. I'll try and be in an alright state though for the match reaction. It'll be out first thing on Sunday. Scott's going to join me again for that, so I'll chat to you then.